Welcome to Lower the Bar with John and Joe. Remember to breathe. This is your Power Hour. Hi, everybody. Welcome back. And we are here again today. Joe, welcome back from your trip.
Thank you.
How was your week down in Florida?
It was wonderful. A lot of beach time, no rain. 10 days, no rain. How's that possible? It was wonderful. Sunburn and then goes away, but it was just a wonderful, very relaxing trip. And a big surprise at the end of the trip. We wound up driving home because we were gifted a car. Are you kidding me?
From your sister.
From my sister and brother-in-law said, hey, we got this great car, but we bought another one and we got too many cars in the driveway. Want a car? We said, okay, yeah, we could use a car. But then we had to change all our plans and drive home. But it was well worth it. Well worth it. So
3 days.
Blessed in many ways. Yes, 3 days.
And you said that you actually enjoyed the trip that you were dreading because we spoke before you came up.
Yes.
You told me about.
Oh, driving 3 days back I thought would be awful. But it wasn't bad at all. In fact, it made me realize I want to go to Virginia for a week.
Okay.
So what are we talking about today?
We are talking about triggers
And intentions.
and intentions.
Because last time we talked about intentions. Oh, I didn't ask you how your week was while I was gone. 2 weeks. I'm sorry.
That's okay.
How was your 2 weeks?
It was incredible, actually. Life-changing, altering for me.
Okay, well, we talked about it on the phone.
Yes. And I'm going to share
Want
with our
to tell our audience what happened to you?
I will share with our listeners what I went through. And those of you watching us on YouTube, we are color coordinated again and swear it was not intentional. It's becoming obnoxious.
I know it. We didn't even talk about, we don't ever talk about, hey, what are you wearing? We got to coordinate.
That's very
So
funny.
we just left. Even our shoes are red and white.
Yeah. On a lighter note,
Couldn't be lighter. Yeah, what happened to you? That's on a heavier note, but it's
Yeah.
awesome.
well, everyone that I know has been getting sick. That's been going around, whether it's COVID, whether it's the flu, a bad head cold, and I had gotten what I thought was a very bad head cold.
You certainly sounded like you had a very bad head cold,
I spent 24 hours in bed. Couldn't get up.
which is unheard of, right? For
Yeah,
you. For
yes. And my head was like a lead balloon. My eyes felt like they were going to explode out of my head. Excuse me. And I was all congested and stuffy too, like my nose, a lot of mucus. And I thought I was getting the flu, not just a bad head cold, because normally when you feel like that, you really are impacted. Excuse me. And I have a little tickle in my throat. So, how do I put this? Okay. I've been having the same dream, Joe, for 20 years. Now, it manifests a little differently every time, but the theme and what's happening in the dream is the same over and over and over again. Like Groundhog Day. Always the same outcome.
But not humorous.
Oh, no.
No, definitely not humorous.
Oh, no. I'm abandoned, no phone, no money, nothing, sometimes naked, just completely alone, isolated. Starts out being chased by some shadow government. I levitate, which is interesting.
During the dream, you levitate in front of them?
In the dream, I'm levitating. Sometimes they're close to getting me, and I can levitate literally out of their grip and fly up to a roof or jump off a 30-story building and land softly on the ground.
I love that. It's cool.
It's very cool. I'm not flying like Superman or anything like that, but I'm levitating, and I'm always being chased. They're always after me, and I'm always left with nothing. Now, this has been going on for 20 years.
This is moving through your fears. I just want to say that because we've done a podcast on that, and your subconscious is doing that.
Yes, at the time when this was going on, or having these dreams, what's really funny is I never really knew what the dream represented, ever. Like it never integrated, or I had an understanding of what was truly behind what was making me feel this way, or why this was manifesting in my subconscious. So the other day, I woke up, had the same dream with a different ending.
For the first time in 20 years.
It was really interesting. At the end of the dream, actually, somebody gave me money and a coat. And I woke up and I burst into tears because it was really profound. It was a different ending. This has been Groundhog Day for 20 years, and now I have a new ending. So I cried. I went to the bathroom. This was really early in the morning, maybe 5:30, 6 o'clock in the morning. Woke up, cried, went to the bathroom, went back to bed, fell asleep, and had the same dream again with a different ending again. Yeah, and this time I was on a plane from LA to New York, and it was hijacked. And somehow I'm in the cockpit with the hijacker, and he's flying the plane, and I remember the plane landing, and we're coming over buildings, and the belly of the plane is maybe a foot or 2 feet from hitting the roof. And I say this because I remember the anxiety in the dream. And that was the emotion that was kind of coming on. I wasn't scared. I wasn't thinking about, oh, the plane's hijacked, but I was vibrating in anxiety. And the plane landed, and the next thing I know, I'm in the terminal, and it's like Rockefeller Center on Christmas Day. You're sardines in a can. You can't move, like Grand Central Station at rush hour. I'm looking for baggage claim, concierge, anyone who can help me, police. I can't find my bags.
Are you dressed?
I'm dressed at this point, but I can't, I don't have a wallet, I don't have a phone, I don't have anything, and no one is helping me. The police don't know, the concierge, everyone is like, I don't know. And that's the message. This anxiety and isolation appears to be building. The next thing I know, I'm in the city and I'm naked. And I'm feeling, and I remember the feeling of being very vulnerable.
Absolutely.
Especially the panic of not having a phone, feeling very isolated and alone. I remember those emotions coming up. And these two young women approach me, probably in their early 20s, maybe mid-20s. And they asked me, am I okay, and everything. And I don't remember responding to them, but the next thing I remember, I'm at this big plastic bag, this black giant, one of those giant garbage bags, and it's filled, and I open it up and there's clothes inside. And I remember getting dressed and putting it on, and it was really strange because I take care of myself. I like to dress well, and not for anybody else. It makes me feel good. But the clothes I'm putting on are very not me. These giant, huge, black, baggy pants, almost like skater kids' pants with 30 zippers, and then this really tight kind of, almost like a turtleneck, but it's not, and it wasn't that cold out, so it was like very strange, and it felt really weird, kind of like those polyester clothes from the 50s, and 60s, those really weird colors, and I remember it just feeling uncomfortable, but at one point after I put it on, I wasn't thinking about what I looked like. I was just so grateful to have them. So that was really an interesting dynamic that was going on, because the vanity kind of energy attached to it was no longer there. I didn't care.
The ego step back.
Yes. I didn't care what I looked like. I was just so grateful to have clothes at this point. And they asked me to come with them. So I
The
did.
girls did?
They did. And I followed them. And they went back and they lived in this kind of brownstone type walk up. And I went into the house, and I remember the landlord standing there staring at me as I'm going up the stairs, like probably wondering who I was. And I didn't comment. I just remember the way he was looking at me, and went up and went into their apartment, and it was all white brick. It was kind of strange. It was just, everything was white, almost like cream white, but
Like not real.
yes, true. And because nothing had definition, nothing had color, it was just all sort of monochromatic white. And the next thing I realize is they're offering me to stay. Like I can stay there. And I remember the feeling that came over me was overwhelming. And I felt this incredible just sadness, but joy at the same time. This beautiful expression that these women were extending themselves to me and offering me a place to stay. And I woke up again right after that in tears. And I really realized what had happened to me. And we had talked about it. I called you after the dream. I woke up. First thing I did, I started journaling about it. And then I called you, and you brought real clarity to me, and I began to understand that I finally integrated into my subconscious, because that's what it was. And again, what was really the most fascinating for me was identifying the dream and what it really meant. And what came to me was I could finally receive love. I could
Without your nice clothes in what you would have projected before as, I don't really feel that I look acceptable. It didn't matter.
No,
They
it didn't
just
matter.
accepted you.
Yes.
That's
And
really love.
it was incredible because, as you brought to my attention, well, I need to let our listeners know that I've recently understood what love is, or how to identify what love is, and how to receive it, because I never could. I came from a family where I didn't hear it from my parents till I was much older in my life.
And more importantly, you didn't feel it.
Yes, exactly. And to finally make the connection that it was in my subconscious was such a profound moment for me. I'll never forget it. It was so incredible.
I know you called me at 20 after 7 in the morning.
Yeah.
I was still in bed,
Well,
but awake.
I really felt, well, something happened to me.
Yeah.
Internally, not just with the acknowledgement of it, but my abilities, my awareness was much more acute. My feeling energy, or my clairvoyance, that the messages seem to be coming through now, again, much more acute, more precise. I'm not going to say more accurate, but more informative, more to the point. So there was more of a rounded kind of analysis of whatever is going on. The viewpoints seem to be more full, more whole. The perspective that I was coming from seems to be more, again, acute and with more awareness, benevolence, understanding, all of that. So it was an amazing week for me. Integrating, first identifying it, and then integrating it, and really understanding what happened to me. And just not only was the experience, but I can't tell you the relief I felt finally understanding what it meant all those years.
Yeah.
And
to have that feeling all those years and not really know what you needed to go through. You may have known the message, but not with clarity.
No, I did not. And what's even more, which goes into what we were talking about last week and what we're going to talk about today, is intentions. How that would set me up. I don't mean the epiphany or the breakthrough that I had. I'm talking about all those years of waking up in the morning, feeling that sense of isolation, abandonment, anxiety, how that set the tone for my day.
Yeah, the aloneness.
Yes.
Because that feeling that you're in a world, and Manhattan is a world of its own, and yet you don't feel connected to anyone or anything, and you feel invisible.
Yes.
That's awful.
Yes, it was not easy to deal with. So that was my week. So I just wanted to share with you guys what happened to me, because I'm all about, because we were just talking about before we went on the air about how this is very personal, but I really feel that I need to be transparent, that sharing these breakthroughs or things that go on with me personally can help our audience, for people that suffer, that struggle, to understand how to navigate. That there are those of us who go through these types of experiences and want to share with kind of the collective, people to understand, you know, we're going through this for you. We are doing this for you. Our experiences that we live, I want to share, we want to share, so you, our audience, have a better understanding of your life, and it will help you navigate.
And you're not alone.
The triggers.
You're absolutely not alone. We're all triggered. But I think we need to start our day with the intention of being more aware of our triggers, both positive and negative. And look at those triggers and look at how you're responding to them. If you like how you're responding, enjoy it. But if you don't like, you can actually change your response. So let's talk about the triggers. Well, let's start with the negative. I always like to end with the positive, because then you're ending on a good side. Can you tell me one negative trigger that you have during the day? Because we have lots of triggers.
Absolutely. But before we do, why don't we do our mantra?
Oh, okay.
Just to
okay.
kind of get us in a place of being grounded and centered.
Yes, we meant to do that at the very beginning. Because we do this before every meeting that we have. We also all do it at our own place where we live.
I do it when I wake up in the morning, first thing.
Yes.
Set it in, again, talk about intentions, setting, putting the right foot forward, so to speak. So
let's do it.
Yeah.
Okay, close your eyes and just listen. I am light. I am love.
I am the power of Source. I am the strength of Source. If I were meant to be another, I would have been. But I decided to be here now.
I love that.
I know, me too.
It just makes me feel so present, and that I made the decision. Keeps you in the now. I would say that after you do that, if you're going to do that mantra, set an intention for the day. You could say, my intention today is to be aware of the triggers. There are lots of positive triggers we're going to talk about. Go ahead and have those positive triggers and enjoy your response. But the triggers that become negative to you, decide to change, if you wish, your response to them and diminish the negative effect on your life. You can do that just by thinking, all right, that triggered me, but you know what? From now on, I'm going to respond in a different way to that trigger. And the more you do that, because repetition is the number one way to change things in your brain, to change your programs, it will change. It will change much more quickly than you even dreamed of. So try it. I'm sure you'll like it.
What do you do, Joe, to balance that, to look at something when it triggers you in a way that creates either anxiety or uncomfortable? Like, what do you personally do? Tell our listeners.
All right, I'm going to tell the truth. I often plan 10 hours of things to do in an 8-hour period. So I really set myself up. I do.
What kind of expectation is that?
one
And I
that
say it that way because I'm sure there are listeners that do the same thing. So I
do,
want to
I
know
do.
about this.
because I want to
What is the
achieve.
purpose
I'm an
of that?
achiever. The purpose of that is I think I have a little bit of overachiever in me.
Okay.
Not a lot, but a little
Okay.
bit.
All right.
But then when things don't cooperate, I get impatient.
A lot of us do.
Yeah, I get impatient and I might get curt with someone, but I always apologize. But still, it's kind of, when you apologize for something you've said, it's kind of like you slap them and then you said, I'm sorry, I didn't mean that. But the sting is still there. So I'm learning to be more patient before I slap. No, and then I don't slap, I meant. I didn't
Very
mean.
funny.
Do you know what I mean? That
Yeah,
I think,
I do, but
no,
that
don't
is very
lose your
funny.
patience and say something that's negative just because you want, not everybody else wants everything done as quickly.
Right.
Like getting podcasting done within the first hour we get together instead of 2 hours. Anyway.
Okay.
Okay, so what do? I try to be patient. I
Yeah.
try to be more patient. Well, that's what I do with my trigger. I look at my response, and it isn't any good to say X, Y, and Z, because that only brings on a negative response from the person you're talking to. So what I do is don't say it, because I realize that I'm impatient, and most of the mistakes I made are my mistakes, not the person I'm talking to. So I just change my response. Be more patient. It's okay.
It begins to work, actually.
Yes, it
You know,
does.
again,
Absolutely, it
we go
works.
back to repetition. I find myself as I raise my consciousness that there are times I'm either with someone or something happens, driving in the car, again, someone cutting you off or just waiting on the line somewhere, there's so many, there are very many levels of triggers.
Yes,
But
there
I
certainly
find-
are, and they
but
come all day long.
Yes, but I find myself stopping my response before it actually happens. So I'm integrating this narrative. I'm actually applying it to my daily life, and it's really wonderful on so many levels because you get a different response from whatever's triggering you.
And you don't ever forget the first time you actually made a big change. I'll give you an example. I cut somebody off on the road accidentally. I think I just,
When was this?
it was years ago.
Oh, I think you shared this story.
Did I on the podcast?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, I did?
Yeah.
And how I told him I was sorry.
Yes.
Rolled down my window and he was shocked. Okay. That's never left my mind. So anytime someone else cuts me off, I think of, that's on him. And I'm like, we just drove home from Florida. Took us 3 days. Tons of people cut us off. And I just was not affected by it. As long as it doesn't cause an accident.
Yeah, I find myself, what's interesting too is it puts you in thought, and sometimes thought is bad, but in this way for me, and I'm only personalizing it, I have more like topic awareness of this issue for myself. Because again, I find myself like something unfolds, and instead of reacting, I find myself just going, let it be.
Let it be.
And I kind of move through it quicker. It's really interesting. I want to react. Sometimes it feels good to, lash out in a
Yeah.
way, but that's because whatever has happened in my day, or that's whatever impacted me, I haven't moved through it. So we sometimes hold these emotions in and then use a trigger to explode,
Yeah.
to let them out.
Especially if you're tired.
Yeah,
At least
which
for me.
is, well, what's really interesting is we're kind of the victim of that in a sense, because we've been on the other end of someone else reacting, and you're like, where did that come from? And I mean, it's obvious that it's not what you did or that moment. There are many other contributing factors to why this person exploded for something so petty or trivial that really had no importance.
I
So
feel sorry for them. But what I usually say is give them grace. And I say a little
that's it.
prayer for them. Just give them grace because I wish them to have a more peaceful mind.
I think having benevolence is what we really need to focus on. Why do we feel we need to react? What are we getting out of it? And this is about what it really is about. Higher consciousness, Joe, I don't know, this is just coming to me, is awareness. To take that focus inward on a daily basis of what you do in your life. It doesn't have to be such, let's say, a religious experience or some major catharsis breakthrough. It's just having an awareness of how your day unfolds on a daily basis and what you can do to make it better. And there are just little exercises that, if we have awareness, can completely shift how the day unfolds.
Absolutely, just awareness.
Beginning by intent.
Beginning by
It
setting
starts
the
there,
intent
yes.
to have that awareness. Well, let's talk about the positive ones. The positive. What's a positive trigger that you have during the day?
Yeah, you tell me, Joe.
What's a positive trigger? When I have something that I'm looking forward to, like I was looking forward to being with you today because we haven't seen each other in
Right.
2 weeks and doing a podcast. And that's always fun. But I look forward to the sun coming out. I'm very nature oriented, so especially now with spring, there's so many things I'm looking forward to being home and having that drive. Just looking forward to enjoying another day, feeling good, accomplishing things, touching people's hearts, helping people overcome their traumas, which is what I do with hypnosis. So yeah, there's so many triggers in your day. Be grateful when you find a parking spot. That's another intent thing. When you're pulling into a parking lot, have the intent, I'm going to find the parking spot that I want. Drive around, not too long, and you'll find it. But be grateful for that. Always be grateful.
I think gratitude is almost the most important place of where we need to be
On
present.
a daily
Yes.
basis.
I found for me, when I'm resonating in gratitude, I get what I need. Everything unfolds in my day differently when I'm conscious during the day of being in gratitude.
I agree.
And,
I agree.
and not so much of what I have or what's being given to me. It's just being present. It's holding space for myself. And everything changes. It's even more than just loving myself, Joe. It's being grateful to a higher power, to how the universe unfolds in my day, what's brought to me, what input I can have, the impact I have on others. I find that gratitude has such impact in my life. And everyone that I've talked to recently, even, and I don't know why, in the last week or so, this has been a topic of conversation with clients, with friends. It's that appreciation for you, your loved ones, your angels, people that look out for you, source, all of that, just giving thanks. And I don't know how to articulate this, but it's like giving thanks to myself is how I express love for myself. It's that humility, that place of being humble and thankful, kind of what makes me feel good. Like that's what brings me joy.
But that's what brings you joy. But also resonating in love and light. People need to realize when you do that, that's contagious.
Oh, absolutely.
It's just not within the person who feels it. It's without the person that feels it too. And we have found that the more often we talk about this, the more often we have people that are saying, I love that. That made me feel so good to hear that. So it is contagious. So express it. Express it in your words.
Lead with love.
Lead with love. Let's talk about what positive triggers. I want to talk about a positive trigger. Music. And I bet most people can turn the radio on and hear a song that brings them back to a memory that brings them joy. Enjoy that. That's a trigger, but it's a positive trigger. When you come home from work and there's a little one at your house that's happy to see you. It could be a child. Even if, your partner is happy to see you. Even if your dog is happy to see you. Enjoy that trigger. Embrace it. Triggers aren't all negative.
It's all vibration.
It is.
It's what it is. It's a vibration. Nothing more, nothing less. It's an energy that you receive. You either receive it or you reject it.
But first, you have to be aware of it. Like opening the door to the office when I came back in and I smelled that fresh coffee. That's a trigger I love. Even if I'm not going to drink it.
No, I got you. It makes you feel good.
Yes.
And that gets back to cell memory,
Yeah.
which again, all relates back to vibration.
Yeah.
Everything has a signature. Everything has a vibration, a tone, an energy. Whether it's feelings, whether it's actions, whether it's numbers, everything vibrates. Some much higher than other energies, but
And we'll be
everything
talking about
has a vibration.
vibrations throughout many of our podcasts.
Yes.
But we're going to have to end it soon, so I just want to talk about this book, The Sugar Brain Fix. If anybody's interested in reducing the amount of sugar that they take, please look into this book. It's The Sugar Brain Fix by Dr. Mike Dow. Because in the future, within the next few podcasts, we're going to be talking about how it is possible to break that sugar fix. And you'll be much more prepared to be part of the discussion if you read that book.
Yes. And also very important for our listeners to understand, and I'm sure a lot of them know this, but our diet and what we ingest, the old metaphor, you are what you eat, but it impacts us on so many levels energetically.
Mm-hmm.
How it impacts each system of our body and how it destroys or uplifts. Mm-hmm. And how it affects our moods and our estrogen levels for women and hormones and men, testosterone, and all of those energies are impacted by our diet. And through awareness, our diet just doesn't change our bodies, Joe. It changes our spirit. It changes our energy. It raises our vibration.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So on that note, let's say goodbye till next time.
We thank you guys for joining us.
We enjoyed being with you once again.
We always do. Love talking and sharing with our audience. And want to wish everyone a fantastic week. Love and light. And remember, lead with love.
And enjoy and embrace and have gratitude for the spring that is almost upon us.
So again, everybody have a great week, and thank you for joining us.
Bye-bye.
Bye.